let's talk about why is deliverance important in Christianity, why is this an important ministry? Why do we need deliverance?
Well, I guess I'll start. We read the Bible, and you look in the Old Testament, you hardly see anything about demons or deliverance. I mean, Satan pops up one or two times, Genesis and Job, and then all of a sudden Jesus shows up in the New Testament, and it's like everybody has a demon. And so he's just doing it everywhere you go. And the fascinating thing is that Jesus taught the disciples that this was the normal part of kingdom ministry. And so, we think of it as, based on the Bible, Jesus basically said, proclaim the kingdom, proclaim the gospel. That's a preaching declaration aspect. He said, heal the sick. And he said, cast out demons. And so, in my opinion, this is basic Christianity, doing these three things. And somehow, the church, and that's church general, over the years has lost, it seems, this very key component. Churches I grew up in, this was just not part of what we did. And I think this is becoming more and more an issue. The church is realizing, oh my goodness, that this is real, and we need to be helping people get set free. And once people get through a deliverance process, they're seeing incredible transformation and changes in their lives.
So why have we not touched on it in 2,000 years? Why has it taken us so long to really grasp what Jesus said?
I don't know.
Can you study history and just tell me?
2,000 years. Okay, lots of reasons. I think people get scared of it.
Yes.
Because it's weird. And certainly in the modern era, we have images of movies, horror movies, and all these crazy images that come to our minds when we think about deliverance. And so that scares us and that throws us off. After the Enlightenment, which is around 1600s, maybe 1650, something like that, everything had to be able to be proven scientifically, and logic and rationale became the highest values. And we see this in healing ministry. So, somebody says they'll get healed, and everybody asks, well, where's the proof? So that's the results of this rationale, intellectual thing. But when you come into deliverance, now this is on a whole new level of how do I prove that somebody had demons besides the fact that they are saying, I feel better now. Yeah. Or my life has changed now. So it's because we're in the spiritual realm, it's just not as easy to nail down, pin down, except, of course, when somebody freaks out in the middle of a meeting and is foaming at the mouth on the floor, then we all go, deliverance. But it just doesn't always look like that.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I was going to say, too, that the value has to be raised up for it. So it took a while for the church to raise the value in healing, right? For everybody
to refine it.
Yeah, to refine healing and to walk in freedom, in healing. It's taken that same amount of time to come into the deliverance ministry. I also feel that we're working with a religious spirit that doesn't want the freedom. Because what would the church look like if it was truly free?
Yeah.
So some of it, I actually feel we're working with a spirit, kind of like there's the political spirit of the day, there's also the religious spirit that works against this ministry.
Yeah.
And I would just chime in that the early church completely understood this.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of debate right now. You can get on YouTube, you can see people, this is for today, this is not for today, this is for Christians, this is not for Christians. You can just find everybody saying everything. But I've been doing some study. The early church understood this completely. In fact, in many cases, you were required to go through 3 levels of what we would call deliverance, and then have a priest kind of do some sort of supernatural scan before they would baptize you, which was the initiation into the church. And this was normal. Everyone had to do this. And so I think we are so far removed from that right now that we only think of deliverance in the most extreme cases, which are needed. They're desperately needed. But what we've missed out on is, just think about people's backgrounds today. Think about the things people are getting involved in before they come to Christ and even after they come to Christ. And these are all opening doors to their lives for spiritual influence.
Yeah.
And we just ignore this deliverance element. And I'm just saying the early church knew this. They did it. I read one place that said the Church of Rome had over 50. Again, I'm going to use the term deliverance ministers. They're going to use the term exorcist. I don't really use that term. But they had over 50 full-time deliverance ministers just in Rome.
Wow.
So clearly, they recognize this is an important part of Christianity and setting people free.
So my question would be, how do we have demons in us still? Why do we need deliverance when we're saved? Because when you get saved, it's saved, set free, and delivered. But yet, I know we still need healing after we're saved. So
how does that work? Did you ever have any physical ailments and then you got saved?
Yes.
And did all those physical ailments go away?
No, they
Can you
didn't.
explain that to me?
So
As
no.
leader of the network.
I know, right? We should totally be. Yeah, I mean, we believe in supernatural lifestyle of living healthy, living free.
So
but yeah, we still
obviously,
have this.
Jesus can do whatever he wants.
Yes.
And sometimes Jesus just heals somebody head to toe, and they have this profound testimony, and we all put it up, and we love it, and we read it, and we watch it, and it's amazing. And other times, Jesus has people walk through a process, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I would just say the same thing with deliverance. There are people that just get a complete, clean out, head to toe, everything's gone, and it's beautiful. And I wish it happened that way every time, and God's God, I'm not.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Because I would say the same when I look at Jesus' life, is when he healed people, it was instant. And when he set them free, it was instant.
Except with the blind man, who he prayed
Right.
for once,
Yes.
and then it took another prayer, and you're like, oh, well, how does that happen?
Yeah.
How can Jesus, the Son of God, why did he have to pray another time? I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it's recorded in the Bible.
Yeah.
And even in the case, the very famous one with Legion, and all these demons, if you look closely in the Greek, it says Jesus had been saying to the demons, come out.
Right.
What's that mean? They didn't come out.
Right.
That means Jesus, the Son of God, was telling them to come out, and they were not coming out. And then Jesus said, okay. So then he asked their name, and then he went on a little bit of a process. He even had a little bargaining. They begged him, and
Yeah.
Jesus kind of agreed, and you're like, this is so weird. But right there it is in the Bible. So.